Hello everyone, Julia Sheehan here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Brisbane, Queensland. Today I'd like to show you how I made these cards, and I'll be doing a different variation of it again. This one I did with Cherry Cobbler, and this one I did with Night of Navy. And the one I'm going to do today is Night of Navy, but it's changing this one around a bit. The things that we're going to need for this card are a piece of Night of Navy measuring 8 1/4 inches by 5 7/8 of an inch, 2 pieces of Whisper White measuring 4 inches by 5 6/8 of an inch or 5 3/4 of an inch, a piece of silver glimmer paper measuring 4 inches by 4 inches, a piece of Night of Navy measuring 3 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches approximately, a piece of Whisper White measuring 3 inches by 3 inches, and another piece of silver glimmer paper measuring 2 1/4 inches by 1 inch, a piece of Night of Navy measuring 2 1/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch, and a small piece of Whisper White measuring 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to do is to, I'll just pop these to the side, is to fold our card and make sure that we meet the corners correctly and just burnish that. Now, the first piece of Whisper White is the one I'm going to use here as the background, and I've used this beautiful embossing folder, Softly Falling, for it. As well as that, we're using the stamp set Beautiful Baubles, and I'm using these two stamps here, the actual bauble and the sentiment, the sentiment that says Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm using also the detailed Baubles Thinlit dies, and I'm using these two only out of that set. And the last thing I'm going to use is this circle out of the Layering Circles Framelits, and it's the largest one. Okay. Now, with the Softly Falling embossing folder, if you have a look at these two cards, you might be able to see that I did the larger amount of snow at the top of the Night of Navy card, and I put it on the card at the bottom of the Cherry Cobbler one. And I know a lot of people put more down the bottom of their cards, but I actually liked it heavier at the top of the card than I did at the bottom. So I'm going to swap it around again and have it at the top again. So a lot of these things I have done in preparation, but just so that you put your card nice and straight into the embossing folder, and when you put it through your big shot, make sure that you go through with the fold here going through first, not the open end, as it will protect your folder and stop it from anything happening to it. Okay, so I have a piece of that already done, and that's here. So I'm going to attach that to the card. Just with a bit of Tombow, my go-to glue. I love Tombow. And I am going to put the bulk of the snow at the top. And I mean, that's entirely up to you. You can do it whatever way you like, but I just liked it better at the top. Okay, there we go. So that's on and done. And my other piece, I'm just going to pop inside the card, and that will have sentiment put on it depending on who I give the card to, because I try to match my sentiments to the person that I'm giving the card to. I don't tend to just do a whole lot of cards and then just send them out. I like to make sure the sentiment suits the person, which probably sounds time consuming, but that's just the way I do it. Okay, so that bit's done. Right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this beautiful die on our glimmer paper and put it through the big shot, and this sits beautifully over each other like that, and then I'm just going to run that through the big shot, and what you'll come out with is that. It's so pretty, and I just wanted it to be different to this one. I did this one in Night of Navy, and I thought, oh, I'll just mix it up this time and do things around a different way. So we've got that. Then with the next piece, this one here, we're going to cut the large layering circle out of that one, and I have that one there ready to go. That's going to go with this. So I can now attach those, and with this particular one, although I'm using Tombow, there's plenty of spaces to put the Tombow on here to make it stick down well. So just carefully go around that, pop it all on. Piece stuck to that, I don't want that to get in the way. I want that to stick down well, especially the outside of it, because the Night of Navy circle will just touch on the edges of this anyway. Okay, and then I'm going to pop that on the card there. There we go, just press that down. I don't want to squash the snowflakes, but I do want to make sure that it does stick well. Okay, then we're going to put our circle on. I am sorry I haven't done any videos recently, but I had a little stint in hospital, and just getting things back together at the moment. So luckily I'm back on deck now, which is a good thing. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is stamp this, but I'm going to do it with Versamark ink because I'm going to emboss it with silver embossing powder. Get that nicely inked up, and just going to line that up and give it a good press down. Okay, we'll take that off. I used that for some Night of Navy once recently, and I think a little bit of it stuck. Anyway, here we go. Silver embossing powder on there, and I've done it again. Every time I forget to use the embossing buddy. I used it every time today when I was doing these cards, and then when it counts, I forgot. It's even sitting here. Look, it's right here, sitting there ready to go. Luckily that's come out okay. And then hold that on the corner, and there it goes. I absolutely love embossing powder, as you've probably realised by now. sides. Gets a little bit warm on the fingers otherwise. There we go. Beautiful. Now the colours I'm using to colour this bauble are my blends, and these are the two Night of Navy, the light and the dark Night of Navy. And I also am using the light Pool Party with it. And I do have this colour lifter just in case I need it. Now, it's very easy to colour in, and I really just had a bit of a fiddle around as to where I wanted things, and I've used the dark, the light. I don't know if you can pick it up particularly well, but I did the same with the cherry cobbler blends as well. And I actually put the gold glitter on this one, but I don't know, that was quite fiddly, so I'm not really sure that I'll do too many like that, and I quite liked it this way. One thing I have noticed when you're using these blends over embossing is that you need to be really careful that you don't go too much onto the embossing part. And just like take your time. Like I'm probably going a little bit quickly with this one, but take your time because it does dull the embossing, I've noticed, and so I take quite a bit of time to colour these in. But as you can see, these colours go nicely together, and I actually like the Pool Party with this just to lighten the bauble. But I do take care not to go too much on my silver embossing, just so it doesn't dull it down. Now, you could get very bored watching me colour this in, so I did do one earlier so that I had one ready. Plus, I really hate rushing them because I like to be careful with them. And so the one I did earlier, I've also fussy cut out because there isn't actually a die for this one. So I fussy cut this one out, and I did it differently to this one. This one I had a little bit darker up the top here, but I just felt that the lighter one at the top probably looked a bit better. But I mean, it's completely up to you. And I'd really appreciate any comments as to which one you do like. But I went with that. I'm going to put that up on dimensionals, which I've got here. Apart from the colouring in, it's a pretty quick and easy card to put together. So I'm just going to sit that about there. Hi everyone, I'm back. My daughter very kindly set my alarm on my phone to let me know when I'm supposed to take my medication, and it went off, so it turned everything off. So I just progressed along happily, not realising, and so I've just deconstructed, and I've already put the dimensionals on the back of this. I did make a mistake. Every time I do one of these things, I forget things. I forget my embossing buddy, or I forget something. This disc here was actually up on dimensionals with this attached to it, but this time I'm going to put this one on it, and there's no right or wrong, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put this one on this time. Still want to sit that like that, and it's up on dimensionals instead. And really, you can't really see much difference, I don't think, in that. So I'm not going to worry about it. And I do have a little silver bow that I made, and I'm just going to pop that on with a glue dot. We don't have this in the catalogue at the moment, but it's some I had left over from previously, so I've popped it on there. I think it would look nice with a navy one as well. And I do believe one of the stamp sets has a solid bow in the new catalogue that you could cut out and put on there too if you like, but I just liked the ribbon bow. And then the only thing we've got left then is the sentiment, which I'm going to attach with Tombow. So a bit on the back there, and just carefully put that on there. Oops, don't want to go too crooked. There we are. And then my sentiment on that. It's just a little simple Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And then that will go up on dimensionals. That I put down somewhere when my alarm went off. Okay, here we go. Use some of these. One on there. One on there. There we are. And pop that on there. And there it is. I better put the lid on my Tombow so it doesn't dry out. Okay, so there they are. Cherry Cobbler and the two Night of Navy that are completely different. But I think, you know, you let your imagination run with it and you could do anything you want with it. I'd really appreciate you turning on notifications on Facebook and sharing my video, or on YouTube if you would subscribe, turn on notifications, and please feel free to comment. Tell me what you like or which one you don't like even. Any ideas that you have for maybe doing something different, I love to hear it, because I love to share my crafting, and I also like to take on board ideas from everybody else as well. So, you know, I really would like to know which one you prefer. And even with the softly falling, I like it at the top there, but it's entirely up to you what you do with it. Anyway, until next time, I hope you have fun crafting, and I'll be back again soon, hopefully now, and keep going. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great night. Bye for now.